You're listening to the 49 Carats podcast, a 49ers Goldmine production with Stephanie Sanchez.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another edition of the 49 Carats podcast. I'm your host, Steph. It is Friday, March 21st, a wonderful day to talk about the 49ers, what they're up to these days. And joining me, as always, on an off-season Friday, my guy, Wayne Breezy. Wayne, how you doing, man?
I'm good. We're getting closer to the draft. A little over 30 days to go. And then it's all over, and then we can really start breaking down these prospects and how they're going to fit the 49ers. So I'm excited. I'm good overall. And we might have a little breaking news as far as where Aaron Rodgers is going to end up playing. Currently, he's at the Steelers facility, and he's going to be signing a deal. So we'll see what happens with that.
My reaction to that, Wayne, is the Mike Tomlin meme. We do not care. I do not care. Stop with these antics with the dramatics. Nobody cares where you're signing in free agency. Just get it over with. All right.
Right.
And let's not act like that's the only quarterback needy team left.
Still got the Giants.
That's the only choice. I don't even think the Giants are interested in him really, but I think they're going Shador. But we'll see. I mean, I digress. We're going to have a fun show today anyway. 49K Draft Club. We're going to be focusing on the Oregon Ducks today, all right? And you know why? Because it's pro day season, and the 49ers were rolling deep in Oregon, all right? So you had everyone in the house as far as the who's who, the higher-ups of the 49ers front office. So let's see here. So Oregon, we had 5 members: John Lynch, Tariq Ahmad, Josh Williams, Dominic DeCiccio, Crowley Hanlon, who's an area scout, but all those other guys are higher ups in their scouting department. And of course, John Lynch, the head honcho. So it was pretty serious. And we did get that one clip of John Lynch, Tariq Ahmad, chatting up Jeffrey Bassa. So I think there's definitely some interest there. And another, pro day that happened this week that was pretty notable, just for, again, who attended, was Stanford. John Lynch almost always attends the Stanford pro days. That's his alma mater. It's right down the street. But what was interesting to me, Wayne, is that not only was John Lynch there, they had wide receiver coach Leonard Hankerson there and a couple of other scouting analysts there as well. And the big draw there was, of course, wide receiver Alec Aomanor. So I don't know. There's definitely something there, I think, to keep a close eye on. But it's pro day season. It's exciting for things like this. And that's why we're going to focus on some Oregon Ducks today in our draft club. So that will come in a bit. But because John Lynch was at the Stanford Pro Day, we got some quotes from him, which is, kind of rare at this time. He's not like he was set to speak or anything like that. But Wayne, he gave us some insight to what the 49ers plan is, right? He said, quote, "I think the things the fans should know is we have a plan and we're going to execute that plan. And we're excited about the opportunity. Bottom line is you're always looking at years out from now, and we forecast it, and we've got some big things coming our way, and you have to clear the requisite room to be able to do that," end quote. Wayne, how did you interpret this?
First, I want to tell everybody, I told y'all there was a plan. I know we couldn't see it. I know,
but don't know what it is, though.
Whether we know what it is or not, we know that they have a plan. That's what I'm trying to say. It's not for us to know what it is. As of right now, it will start to come to fruition once we start seeing some of these puzzle pieces put into place. Puzzle piece number 1, Brock Purdy. Puzzle piece number 2, extensions, George Kittle, extensions, Fred Warner. Those are key puzzle pieces that we're talking about. You lock your quarterback in, you get your linebacker, all-pro linebacker, you get your all-pro tight end. I don't see them walking away from those 2 guys. So, look, they had to clear a lot. And I don't want to say they got to clear a lot of space, but they definitely needed to get different moving forward now that they're going to be on the books for a quarterback. And so that's changing up the infrastructure of some of the things that the San Francisco 49ers are doing. So from this quote, that's what I'm getting. Like, look, we got a plan, and the plan is we're going to be locking in our QB. Don't know the number. The same way you feel about Aaron Rodgers is the same way I feel about Brock Purdy. Just sign him up, keep it moving. Let's go. Like he's a quarterback. I don't want to hear nothing about trades, things like that. If that's the guy, lock him in so that we can continue to start, building, the offense around our quarterback, right? Opposed to having the offense already built and him having to come in and work throughout the nuances of the offense. So I'm excited to see what John Lynch and his plan is for the San Francisco 49ers moving forward. I get it. It's a little bit unwary. It's concerning. You let go of some players that could have been contributors. But Steph, we went to the Senior Bowl, and at the Senior Bowl, we realized that this was going to be a defensive draft, like hands down.
Sure.
Like
for sure.
That's it. And so how do you rebuild a championship infrastructure? Well, you build the defense, because defense wins championships. You get younger there. And those are the players that you're hoping now to be around 4-5 years from now, ready, entering their prime. And you will have to make tough decisions then again, 4 or 5 years from now. But I think we'll be able to supplement the offense with some key pieces, but I think they go defense, and they get right back. They don't really skip a beat. I mean, it's easier, I think, for defensive players to go full throttle than it is for offensive players to learn that big-ass Kyle Shanahan book. Like, I really think the transition defensively is a little bit easier. And then when you bring in the most important move of the offseason, and we've talked about this, when you bring in Robert Saleh, you literally say, finally, I can trust. We trust this guy. He knows he built this system here. He knows the system. Now let's let him go get his players. And I don't know if you want to touch on the stuff that's going on Twitter world as far as the players that the Niners have drafted defensively for the 49ers regime. We could do that, but I got stuff to combat that, because I know we're going to be like, oh, Nick Bosa's, Fred Warner, they're the only hit picks. Understood. But there's ways to work around why. And Robert Saleh wasn't here for all those picks. So we can have that conversation if you want.
I'm okay. I mean, yes, there have been some misses. But I feel I'm optimistic that they've learned from some of those mistakes. And, I do think they were almost pigeonholing themselves into some of those picks. Where, now, yes, I think they go best player available, but I think best player available more often than not in this draft is going to be a defensive line player, right? So it's just so deep. So this is the draft where if you are going to rebuild your defensive line, this is the one to do it. And you mentioned it, like, this offense really is not different. It's really not that much different from what it was last year. There are a few questions about wide receiver, things like that. I do still think Brandon Ayuk, he's going to be part of this team in 2025. And so really it's just about the defense. And that seemed to be the biggest place where this plan has taken effect, right? Wanting to cut costs, wanting to move on from players that maybe doesn't fit the vision of Robert Saleh. I think the one critique I have of the plan, Wayne, is that they're putting pressure on themselves to nail this draft, because there were some free agents available that I think they could have gotten for a reasonable price. Some were overpays, right? We're not talking about that. You don't want to touch that. I get it. But I think there was some value there. Like Charles Omenihu, for example, he returned to the Chiefs. I think that could have been an option for the 49ers. I think Azeez Ojulari could have been an option for the 49ers. I don't feel like the Eagles gave up too much for him. So there were options out there. They didn't address them. They wanted to bring Drake Greenlaw back. They lost out on him, which I don't think was part of the plan. I think they were banking on Greenlaw, or really hoping Greenlaw would come back.
For sure.
So that kind of puts a wrench in the plans, right? And then last week we were talking about the fact that, free agents just aren't going to want to be swayed, or they're not going to be swayed to come to the 49ers based on the current condition of things, right? So that's kind of the pickle that they're in. But as long as they have a really good draft, I do think they'll add some free agents after the draft, add some It's real great value. But yeah, I mean, clearly there's a plan.
And and to be fair, that's kind of like where I am, mentally with what's going on. Like I feel like plan is after draft, like free agency after the draft, wave 2. You know what I'm saying? There's going to be players released still. There's going to be free agent, and so now the Niners they've clearly cleared a lot of cap space. They have plenty of cap space. They got cap space to sign Brock Purdy's extension.
I don't
George
see this
Kittle's
getting done until the 49ers.
George Kittle's extension and Fred Warner, if they do a restructure or extend him, they have plenty of space. Okay, and so they're probably going to create even more space, and I think there's going to be something in the works where the Niners still continue to bring in, guys on those kind of fair share 1-year deals, come here opportunities. There's going to be players out there available. So I'm not. Yeah, we could have went after some of those guys in free agency. I would have preferred that, but I think the Niners are playing kind of like playing poker right now. And so, yeah, they do got to hit on the draft. Do they have to nail all 11 picks? No. Do I want them to? Absolutely. Who doesn't? I mean, I want them to scout the hell out of what's going on and land the players that they feel are going to be the best fit for the San Francisco 49ers moving forward over the next 4 to 5 years. I want that. Who doesn't want that? Yeah. Not saying that that's reality and that's going to happen, but there's a possibility that if they got a plan, that they can nail the majority of these picks and they be around for the next 4 to 5 years.
Yeah, I mean, I have trust in the vision, and they'll figure it out. It's just right now it's not easy to see what the vision is because there's so many missing pieces to this puzzle. But you mentioned one of the pieces of this puzzle, Wayne, being Brock Purdy, right? And that's obviously one of the big ones that needs to happen this offseason. So I saw this from the insiders yesterday, NFL Network. Mike Garofalo had this to say about the negotiation.
I don't see this getting done until the 49ers and Brock Purdy agree on a number that's close to Dak Prescott. Not all the way there, but close to Dak Prescott. Purdy saying that's fair, but it also still gives the team and John Lynch the opportunity to do things elsewhere on the roster.
So Brock apparently wants Dak Prescott money? I mean, that doesn't seem to make a lot of sense to me. I don't know if I believe this. I don't know if this is the agent in Garofalo's ear or something like that, but that just seems a little bit out of character to me, Wayne.
It does and it doesn't. And so Brock saying this, probably not. Agent saying this, absolutely. Because I want my client to get the most money, so I could get paid the most money. But if we're talking about football terms here, Steph, come on. Brock is statistically better than Dak Prescott. Statistically. Now, he might not have some of the skills sets or measurables of a Dak Prescott, but performance-wise, he outperforms Dak Prescott. And so the agent is going to use those key factors and those outliers and be like, yeah, well, my quarterback led in this, and my quarterback led in this, and my quarterback has done this. What has your quarterback done? Has your quarterback won that quarterback didn't win a playoff game, but this guy did. So there's going to be back and forth banter going on between Brock's agent and the 49ers. Let's just keep it a buck. And I don't know if I don't know what we're talking about as far as Dak, because if we're looking at Dak, then we're talking about APR, right? Average APY, right? Average per year, which is at that 60 million number. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. So if the Niners make him the highest average per year, the guarantees may be lower. Like at the end of the day, like if I'm Brock and Brock's agent, F that number and make sure that I'm guaranteed. My guarantees are my guarantees. Like it's all about guaranteed money in football. You want the guarantee. So if I'm his agent, hey man, I could get you in the 50s. Right. You know, but I could get you guaranteed damn near all of it, like most of it, like a bulk of it. Like you get what I'm saying? I think if I'm Brock, that would be the smartest. Plus, it'll probably be less years. So Brock can go and try to outperform himself and force the 49ers to extend him like Josh Allen, like the Bills did Josh Allen. Like Brock has so many ways he could go about this. Plus, I'm sure Brock wants to keep certain key friendly players on this team. And I don't mean offensively. I mean defensively. I think Brock needs this defense to be intact. Yeah. And I think he can make the offense work with several players.
He kind of needs the whole team to be intact if we're being
Yeah,
honest.
listen, likely, yeah, you're right.
All right, so the saying, shoot for the moon, you land somewhere in the stars. To me, that's exactly what the agent is doing. If this is in fact coming from the agent, because I don't see any reason why Mike Garofalo would say this just out of nowhere. Like, he's obviously probably hearing that from somewhere. And so we have to assume it's the agent, but again, it's agent speak, it's negotiation speak, it's negotiation tactics through the media, and the 49ers partake in this as well. They've done plenty of that this offseason, talking about there's no guarantee anything gets done, and then they bring in Mac Jones and, all that. But as Papa J says here in the comments, Dak Prescott doesn't even deserve Dak Prescott money. So that shouldn't be like, we should not look at Dak Prescott's deal and be like, yeah, so Brock should get the same because he didn't even deserve it when he got it. And I think it sets the Cowboys back. Like, they were already in a bad spot, in my opinion. And
I think that's unfair to say, though.
I don't think this helps Dak.
No, it doesn't. But to say that Dak doesn't deserve the money now, yes, but to say it back then, they had the number one scoring offense in football. He was putting out like 4,000, 5,000 yards. They were like, he deserved the money. Jerry Jones really screwed it up, right? By just paying him that astronomical APY amount per year. Like, I mean, his contract's still not bigger than Patrick Mahomes overall, but just the $60 million a year, like, what the heck? And so, like, I'm not saying he deserved $60 million, but he did put up some astronomical statistics during that time because those players were on rookie deals. They had drafted Micah Parsons. He wasn't going to get paid for a while. So it's just kind of like how the league falls. I'm not saying Brock deserves 60, but if we paid him 60, I wouldn't be crying. I'd be happy that Brock's here and we're going to compete for a championship. Like, I don't know. I just get it done. Whatever the number is, I'm hoping they all come to an agreement so that way we don't have to go into this rest of the offseason. Is Brock going to be the quarterback? Is McCorkle Jones going to be the starting quarterback?
We can't do that.
Not for the third year, fourth year. Ever since Kyle Shanahan has been here. It's been a weird quarterback vibe.
He's a common denominator.
Wow.
For sure.
Just pick one, Kyle. I think Kyle is picking one. And then you get the article that Leash is being pulled now when it comes to who he wants because of money.
Look, I'll say this to just kind of I'll say this to kind of end like this topic is that I'm not a fan of the narrative being that the 49ers are cost cutting because of Brock Purdy's contract. Could we let that go too? Because I've seen so many people say that, and even the media, even national media is like doing that. And
like
I don't
Ian
know
Rappaport,
if that's
talking about how we're cap purgatory, basically.
Like, are they not paying attention? Like, the 49ers have plenty of cap space. It's just Jed York wants to, tighten the leash, like you said, on some spending that he has to do.
That cash.
That is going to, impact Brock Purdy's deal, I think, but I don't think they needed to let go all these people in order to make room for Brock's deal.
Agreed.
That's just not the case.
They let go of those people because of the future plan. Like, whatever the plan is, that's why they let go. The only player that I'm scratching my head with is Leonard Floyd because of the production.
I agree.
I don't think that. I mean, part of this can be right. It could have been the guarantee money and the way Robert Saleh might want to use him, or he could have been not a fit for Robert Saleh. Now, I kind of digress with that take because he was the speed off the edge on the opposite end, and he was productive. Mm-hmm. Was he a liability in the run game? Yes, but so was Nick Bosa. So at the end of the day, we just don't have good edge setters. And that's why I think they addressed that in this draft. So to let him go was kind of weird. Everything else?
It was weird. It was.
Understood.
That one felt a little premature and short-sighted to me.
Forgot about Bosa. Forgot about the Bosa thing. I forgot just that quick.
Wasn't the timing of it kind of weird? Like, they thought they were going to get Bosa, I think.
Good point.
And and they didn't, and then they let go Leonard Floyd. So it might have not gone the way that they wanted to, and now they're just like, yeah, like that we plan to let go of Leonard Floyd. Like I almost want to ask, or I want one of the media members to ask specifically about Leonard Floyd.
Right.
But
and how ironic was it that he had a deal in place? I felt like this was set up for him to go out and be great. Like, you know what I'm saying? Listen, Floyd, look, we're going to cut you, but listen, if you can get something entertained real quick, make sure you got something set up so then when we release you, you can move right into the next situation.
Maybe he has to be released. I don't know.
Or that comes out, right? Like, could be. We'll never know.
We'll never know. Although owners' meetings happening, I think at the end of this month. Right? So we'll get some quotes. We'll get some more quotes from John Lynch that are a little less rushed than, what he had to do at Stanford Pro Day. I think that was just kind of like giving the media a couple of minutes of his time. But we'll hear from Kyle and John Lynch at that one, and we'll hopefully get more answers around that, because I have to imagine there'll be specific questions around that. But Wayne, let's get to this draft. I mean, we're trying to fix the 49ers with this draft, right? And we need defensive line players. We need defense. Yes. And I can't think of a better team, to go to than Oregon right now, to see all the players that they have that would be great fits for the 49ers. So we're going to talk about a few of them today. All right. So we're going to talk about Derek Harmon. We're going to talk about Jamari Caldwell, Jordan Birch, Josh Connolly Jr., Johnny Cornelius, Jeffrey Bossa. So I'm excited, Wayne, because, man, they got a lot of talent out there in Oregon.
They do. It's not just the uniform. Those players, they play, they ball out. I guess I feel like the 49ers have this like affinity for Oregon players. And this was before. We can go before the Lynch and Shanahan, situation that we're in, right? Before that campaign started, like we drafted a couple of tree trunks out of there, but Lynch and Shanahan did get Deommodore Lenoir from there. So let's not act like we don't.
He's a dog too.
Let's not act like we don't go. And here's what I like. This is why I really like the Oregon connection right now. They're in the Big Ten now. Mm. And Kyle and John like Big Ten players.
It's a good point.
And so now that the competition has, and they went to the game, like they went to it all, like, right, Oregon, like they were deep into the playoffs,
right.
And so that's big on a Big Ten level, and so between them and you got some really talented players out there. I mean, just looking at Derek Harmon and him transferring from Michigan State, I believe, like,
yes.
And switching his technique up and being that 3 technique, which is where I feel like he's going to play in the NFL, especially if he comes to a team like the 49ers. I don't know if we're into our draft club stuff right now, but that's a solid piece. You know what I'm saying? Like Derek Harmon would provide the size you want as a tree trunk, but then he has the athleticism as well to play against the run and rush the passer. And I think that, and I'll break it down a little bit more, but I really like Derek Harmon, but his compadre, Jamari Caldwell, another stud space eater. So, what I'm looking for on the front this year is a space eater. Like I was talking to my boy Tony, and we were like, yo, maybe we go back to this odd man front up front, right? Where you don't have the same types of defensive tackles. You have your space eater, your big bowling ball guy, and then you got your quick twitch pass rushing type of a defensive tackle. Maybe that's the route we go this year. Who knows? But there are tons of prospects out there, and a lot of them are from Oregon, and that's just the front of the line. We didn't even talk about edge rusher Birch, so that's another piece. They have several players,
So many players, and let's keep in mind they have the tight end too that we're not even going to talk about.
You know,
today.
I like Terrence Ferguson. Come on now,
Ferguson out here. We love Terrence Ferguson, so he's there as well. They just have so many dudes. So it's
Jordan James, the running back. They got players. Jeffrey Bossa, linebacker. We'll talk about. Listen, they got some dogs.
They got some dogs. It's no wonder that the 49ers roll deep at that one. So let's get into it, Wayne. Let's start off with Derek Carmen here. I mean, the connection with Derek Carmen, I think, makes a lot of sense because he's very much that slender type of defensive tackle, very much Armstead Buckner type of build. I don't know how they always find dudes like this, right? Like they kind of look like clones.
Right. And they're rare. So I feel like when they come around, that's the Niners. If they're going for type, that's the Niners type.
For sure. And he plays a lot of the 3 tech, 5 tech. So again, very much that same type of role that Armstead and Buckner had at Oregon and with the 49ers. And yeah, I mean, he can create pressure. He can be a beast in the run game as well. He can work off of double teams. So I just think he's a really good fit for what the 49ers are looking for. As you said, like, this is rare, and being, coming from Oregon, it's not just the body type, but you know that he's going to have that same sort of NFL ready, baseline to work with coming out as those guys did.
I agree. Look, 6'5", 310. That's where you're going. Defensive tackle. You talked about the techniques, 3 technique, 5 technique. And what I get from him is just disruption up front. I don't know if it's because of his transferring from Michigan State to Oregon, the meanness, I don't know, but he just disrupts things up front. I mean, every guy has some weaknesses, but here's what you're going to get from him. His pass, I got to get this out slowly because I can't say it in real time. Right. His pass rush win rate is the highest for defensive tackles. It's 19.4%. I'm a Walter Nolan guy, and even Walter Nolan's pass rush win rate isn't that high. This guy generates pressure up front. Strong base. The guy is strong. He's a reliable run defender. Just looking at my notes. Great quickness, burst arm, getting into the backfield. And I do feel like he has some issues, and I'll talk about that. But you know what I love about him most? His hands. His hands are very active, and he has great upper body strength. So you can't sit there as an offensive lineman and get up under this guy's shoulder pads. And he's got the dangerous hands. Just think of what was that guy, Aaron Donald, when he would fight with the knives. You know what I'm saying? That's what he does. He trains. I guarantee you his hands are crazy. Here are my biggest issues, though, with him. His tackling isn't as great. So, like in the run game, he's going to miss tackles. He has a 30.8% missed tackle rate. And I think it's just because of his inconsistency with his pad level. Sometimes he's too high. Sometimes he's perfect. And it's just inconsistent. And if he can get that, if he get the right coaching, like a Chris Kocurek, get his pad level down. Because that's the biggest issue with some of these bigger guys, And when we were at the Senior Bowl, Deion Walker's biggest issue, pad level. Dude didn't know what to do with his pad level. He even said it in the interview when I talked to him. I got to get my pad level down. So that, to me, are things that can be tweaked and worked on in his game. But, man, listen, this kid is a monster up front.
I mean, even in some of these clips, you see him whiff a little bit on a couple of the tackles on these quarterbacks.
Just a couple.
And it's quarterbacks, that's quarterback statues, right, for the most part. But yeah, I think it does have to do a little bit with the leveling, and those are things that can be coached up, and I wouldn't be too worried about it. My question is where he goes, because he could be a late first. Obviously, the 49ers have a pick 11. I do think the 49ers, if they really like him, they'll take him at 11. I don't think they have any shame in reaching, as we've seen many times, right?
Yeah.
Or they could trade back a few spots, get him at a more respectable pick.
Yeah.
As well, I could see that. But yeah, I just don't see him getting out of the first round anyway. So it's gonna have to be first round or bust if that's who you want.
I agree. And, to try to sit there and say you can wait to try to get him at your next pick, nah.
It's risky business.
He's moving up the draft charts. He's moving up the big boards, and there are going to be teams that want the big disruptor up front, that has good base. Look at him. Just look at him. Like, he's in the backfield. Run stops, 8 run stops, 3 sacks, 7 tackles, 25 pressures from an interior guy. Give it to me. Give it to me, baby. Like, you get what I'm saying? So, like, yeah, man. And you know what I think we'll get if you get a guy like this? You'll get a lot of holding penalties. He'll generate those penalties from the off. Look at him getting. Is that Savanea? No. This is Penn State.
No,
Jesus
Penn State.
Christ! My gosh. I told you about the hands. The hands are dangerous, and they're strong. They're strong.
Yeah,
They're
man.
strong.
He's a handful. He's a handful. I would love to see, like, if the 49ers are looking to fix their defensive line, Derek Harmon would go a long way to fixing it, I think. But they got the other guy, the Jamari Caldwell. He's one of my favorites, man. And I think because he's just such a high effort player. Look at this man. He is 340 pounds moving like this, Wayne.
Motor. It's just motor. Motor.
So much effort.
340 pound with a motor. We're talking Hemi, engine, motor, high octane, or diesel gasoline. He's going on diesel gasoline because he doesn't give up. I look at these players, and I know this is your guy, but I look at some of these tackles, and I say, well, I love Walter Nolan, but sometimes I feel like he ain't all there. I don't get that from Jamari Caldwell.
No, I don't either. That's why he was one of my favorites, because, like, you can get him a little bit later, and you're still going to get similar production out of him, in my opinion, as some of these other guys. So, yeah, I mean, I love the motor. For me, like, that's a big deal. If you're going to be putting pressure on a quarterback, you have to put pressure on the offensive lineman first. And how do you put pressure on them? You win with speed, with aggressiveness. Make them scared. And I think that's what he does. Like, look, so watching him, it was like really a no-brainer. He was one of my favorites. If they don't get Caldwell, if they don't get Harmon, I think Caldwell would be a perfect fit a little later in the draft.
They're different players.
Why not both?
There you go. And there you go. And that's what I was going to suggest, because they're different players. And at the beginning of the show, I was saying, why not go with that odd man up front? Why not go with the big nose tackle playing one of the defensive tackles that can play over in the A gap or B gap, whatever gaps you need him to play in, and then get that's the one technique, and then get your 3 technique. Get that guy, and then triple up and get a guy that can play inside out. Like, why not? This is the draft for it.
And we know this guy whose
Hey!
tweet we got up on the screen. John Chapman. He says 49ers need defensive tackles that could beat double teams. Jamari Caldwell would be a perfect fit, and yes, indeed, he would. And that's the thing, Wayne. Like, this draft class has so many examples of so many different flavors of defensive tackle.
It's like Baskin Robbins right now, right?
Yes, like you could really get whatever you want. Whatever you want, whatever kind of identity you want to have on your defensive line. This is the draft to do it. And so, yes, we're worried about the defensive line, but again, this is the best draft for them to kind of rebuild that defensive line, because there's so many options for them.
Right, which is the anchor of the defense. And so that's why I feel it's like the stuff that we're going through right now is going to be okay. We just got to try to hold on, because this is a bigger picture of everything. And so, look, I have him in the class. I have Caldwell in the class of the Kenneth Grants, like the bigger nose tackle-ish freak athletes type guy. So, like, kid from Michigan, he just did his pro day today. He ran, I think he ran like a 5'11", 5.1 or 5.12, whatever like that. But I got his measurements right. I'm saying, like, wow, like that big kid
Kenneth
can
Grant?
move. At Kenneth Grant at 330 pounds, ran a 5'1", 330 pounds, and you've watched him on field chase down the running back from Penn State. So look, at the end of the day, like, I think that the Niners can go, if Kenneth Grant is your one at that technique, and you can't get him, and you go Caldwell, sign me up. Like, you know what I mean? So if it's Harmon Caldwell, I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
Yep, we love it. All right, so let's get to the next player here, Jordan Birch. So Jordan Birch, to me, like I only recently really started hearing about Jordan Birch. So I was like, wait, like why has it taken me so long to see this guy's name on my timeline? Because he looks good, right? So Jordan Birch. Look, so I'll say this: the clips that people post online are obviously really good, and then I dived into his tape. The first game I watched, Wayne, was Oregon against Ohio State, and he was playing really well, high effort, aggressive, things you want to see out of him. And then I also started watching some other games. I think Boise State, and I forgot what the other game was. So he's in those games. Oh, Penn State was the other one. In those games, he kind of took a step back a little bit. Like he kind of disappeared from those games. So I get a little Jekyll and Hyde sense with Jordan Birch. I just don't know if the consistency is there. I'll say this. He can convert his speed to power. Like to me, that's his best move. I'd love to see him add more moves to his tool shed. I think he has more of an impact against the pass than the run. Correct. So I think when he's going up against run heavy teams, that's when he kind of tends to disappear because like that's just not really where his game is best. He has a hard time disengaging from blocks in the run game, but he is versatile. He can line up inside as well. That's what he did at Oregon. But I think, Wayne, that he'll be better served at the next level at just one spot. Just keep him at the end. Like that's where I want to see him. And yeah, he was a transfer as well into Oregon. He was at South Carolina before. But there's traits. Like he's very athletic, 6'6", 295 pounds. I mean, that's build right there.
He weighed in at 290 plus. Dang. And he like it's amazing that he struggles in shedding like getting those blocks off of him. Like that's something that could be learned. Something that can be learned. And if you're not drafting him, if you're getting him in round 3, round 4, you can live with it. Like you can live with it. You know, he can get to the passer though. So he has the speed to get to the quarterback. Like that is key. And I know we want the perfect combination. You know, if you're getting drafted an edge, you want the guy that can set the edge for the run. You want that so they can kick these guys back in so you guys can make the linebackers can make these tackles and stuff like that. We want that. We want the edge setter. But on these pass rush downs, I want a guy that can get to the quarterback. I'm tired of just pressure. I want pressures converted into sacks. I don't want hits. I don't want just hits, excuse me. I don't want just hurries. I want results. And that's what he can do.
Yeah, so, you know, we'll see. I think, like I said, or like you said, like get him in the 3rd, 4th round.
Yeah.
Like, you know, that's something you could work with, right, with him. So, we'll see if he's an option for the 49ers. I could see him being a situational pass rusher, you know,
sure.
At the next level.
Kind of like what Drake Jackson was supposed to be. Like, you know what I mean?
Dude, don't even. All right, so I saw this tweet from Brett Coleman on Jordan Birch that I wanted to share here. So he said, when looking at pass rush win rate, pass rush win rate or pressure rate data, always remember to account for scheme and role. Jordan Birch had an overall pass rush win rate of 16.3% this year, which is middle of the pack. However, he had 55 of his 246 pass rush snaps, so it's 22.5%, lined up as a 4-eye, or even further inside than that, because that's the role he played over 40% of his time on early downs. On those inside alignment snaps, he had a paltry 3.6% pass rush win rate because he wasn't actually pass rushing from that spot most of the time. So it dragged his overall efficiency down. So this is why I say, Wayne, that like I think he'd be better at just having
edge,
a single role, just play edge at the next level. Clearly, it's the thing he's good at, right? So the versatility, sure, like he could rush from the inside if you want him to, but I just don't think a team should want him to. Like just let him do what he does best. So that's the last thing on him.
You know, and for some reason, you know, if he becomes a 49er, I'm hoping that's how the Niners rock with him. You know what I mean? Don't ask him to do anything outside of what his repertoire was. Now, if he starts to show improvements that he can win on the inside a little bit more, then yeah. but let him go where his strength is. Like, and we'll have the players to do it. He can be a rotative piece. But he needs to go to a team that's going to let him just rush the passer, like just from the outside.
And his
like
ears
that.
back.
Yeah, man, just go get him.
Exactly. Let's get to the offensive lineman now, Wayne.
Hey.
And let's go with Josh Connolly Jr. I mean, he was at the Senior Bowl. He was at the Combine as well. 49ers had a formal with him at the Combine. All right. So, I mean, his claim to fame was his game against Abdul Carter. Yeah. Zero pressures from Carter in that game.
Solid game.
Most definitely impressive. RAS score of 8.95. He moves really well for his size. He's 6'5", 311 pounds. He's going to be a tackle at the next level, most definitely. And as of right now, Wayne, like he's projected like second round?
Yeah, like it's weird like how he's fallen, but I think it's because of other players like they've moving up in their draft positions. And so I can see why, he's fallen into the second round, but he's a top 10 tackle in this draft. So let's not get it twisted. Just I don't think 9 tackles are going in the first round. Like they may, but I don't think this is the draft for that. So yeah, I can see why he's being pushed down to the second round. And if he's there at 43, 44, wherever we pick, you might want to pick up. You might want to pick this kid up. Like and if you're talking and getting a tackle in round 2 that can come in and sit under Trent Williams and be ready to go once Trent Williams is ready to go, like that's perfect. And that's what I like about him. Like the key thing to his game is his athleticism and his ability to recover. So let me just explain what that means. Like if you get the step on him, okay, he has the quickness in him to be able to recover from it. And we saw it at the Senior Bowl. I'm going to talk about his weakness because he has a big weakness. But that right there is pretty good. Like he explodes out of his stance and he has really good quick recovery skills if you get the edge or get the step on him. And that's not all the time going to happen. I think his hand placement is good when it comes to pass protection, which is his strength. He needs to work on his run blocking. So like that's something that can improve. And I think it will improve in a Chris Forster system for sure. But guess where he plays best in? Wide zone. So I say work on run blocking, and I mean more if you're going to run these power gap schemes. I'm hoping the Niners get back to the gosh dang wide zone runs, which is where he kicks out because of his athleticism. You know what I mean? And so with that athleticism, you kick out to the wide zone. That's where his strength lies. That's where his run blocking is high. So if we're going to talk about high run blocking grades, and let's see if we can find it for outside zone runs compared to power runs on the inside. He's great in play action pass. He's a good pass protector. The issue with him though is his strength, his play strength, right? And so it's not that he's weak, but if you get a bull rusher.
I mean, what was the one-on-one rep that we saw?
Mike Green, you know what it was. You just don't want to say it. I'll say it. It was Mike Green. And Mike Green just came in with power, speed. To be fair, he was on the right side, and he's a left tackle. I would have loved to see it. It didn't happen on the left side. Nothing happened on the left side. He did not get whatever the word is on the left side, but on the right side. That Boris. But you know what? That's consistent, though, because if you watch the film, he struggles against those strong bull rushers, and he's got a weak anchor. So he's got to work on his anchor. And that's probably why he's going to slide. He's not Mike McGlinchey. No, he's not Mike McGlinchey. No.
Don't put him in the same sentence with Mike.
No, he was Mike McGlinchey on the right side. No, I'm just playing. But no, seriously, he has to get a stronger anchor. And he's young. And so I feel like because of the age, he can get stronger. Again, who do you hope he'll work out with? Oh, I know. Trent Williams.
Would be a dream pick. Obviously the 49ers aren't in a position to go tackle in the first round. And I think we're assuming that Campbell, Membu are going to be off the board when they pick at 11 anyway. But the defensive line being at the state that it is right now, you can't go tackle like your first pick, right? Like it would just be, you have to allocate to the defensive line. So anyway, if you go defensive line with that first pick, you go defense. It would be like best case scenario if you could still get a tackle like Josh Connolly in the second round. right?
sure.
Like I think that'd be great. You know, let him marinate a little bit behind Trent, and he'll be ready to go once Trent retires. Like, I think that'd be awesome. I also am for the argument that the 49ers can wait even a little bit longer for tackle. Riskier, but they do like to develop guys. So I can see that being something they do as well. As far as the other went too far. The other Oregon tackle, Johnny Cornelius, he could be an option that they get later in the draft. Now, obviously, the fact that he's projected to go later in the draft usually means there's reasons for that. So I think as far as he goes, he's a big boy, 6'5", 315. He's not as fluid to me as Connolly, which is why I think teams might want to maybe try him as a guard. And maybe that's the key to unlock him. He's got strength, so I think he'll do great against like smaller edges. But I just worry how he might do against like quicker edges in the NFL. And he's sort of he would be a developmental pick, but he has some tools to work with, right? So I see a lot of potential with him. I think, teams would as well.
Yeah, and I think the Niners will draft a couple of potential players, right? Like, especially on the offensive line. I know we want to get better on the offensive line, but it comes down to scheme fit. Like, what's going to be the Niners scheme offensively this year? And I think it was a little Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. I'm going to ride with that because you brought it up. Like, were we power? Were we zone? Which was it? And when we drafted certain players, were we drafting for zone? Were we drafting for power? And it was weird. I never understood the Aaron Banks pick, but I think it was because we drafted Trey Lance and we were trying to change the offense up, and that's why we went with Danny Gray. And, so maybe we're shifting back into the zone scheme full. Like, we'll see what happens. I'm not saying we don't run some type of power runs up the middle. You still have some big guards up there, some athletic guards. But if the Niners went with a kid like this, I wouldn't be surprised in rounds 5, round 6, I wouldn't be surprised. I don't even think we got a 6th-round pick this year now. We traded it. We swapped. So
that's right.
We got 3 7ths.
We got 2 5s.
We got 2 5s.
5s and
3 7ths.
3 7ths.
Yeah.
So they can move up if they want to.
They can move up.
All right, let's talk about the next guy here, linebacker Jeffrey Bassa. So as you guys know, there's a lot of buzz around Bassa and the Niners just because of, we saw the John Lynch speaking to him at Pro Day. A lot of people, including, our buddy Johnny Dells, has said Bassa would be a great fit for the 49ers. What do you think, Wayne?
So, I mean, no.
Okay.
At the Senior Bowl, this was a guy that let's just watch him. We watched 5 different linebackers, and he was definitely one of them, right? And he probably had a really good Senior Bowl. I had my eyes glued to Demetrius Knight. I think Bassa on the next level, if he plays on the weak side, he's going to be an all-pro. I don't know how hard that would be if he comes to the 49ers, but I think he can be an all-pro more than what Dre Greenlaw never made all-pro.
No.
If you draft this kid and he plays weak side linebacker, he'll be all-pro. Why? Because he is a tremendous pass coverage linebacker. Yes. That is what I love about him. The speed is there. As a Mike
safety,
because he was a former safety. There you go. And so transfer into Oregon as well. He's a transfer. But my thing that I love about this kid is, his ability when it comes to understanding the play recognition of passing games. He understands passing concepts. You cannot beat him in man. You can't beat him in zone. He has the quarterback's eyes. It's amazing watching him play football as a pass defender. The issue, though, with the little guy, because I got to call him little because he's 6'1".
He's small.
226, playing the mic, I don't know, because that's his deficiency, right? He's going to I feel like he doesn't diagnose the run plays as quick as he diagnosed pass plays because he knows he's undersized, so he's second guessing, and then it's causing him to have a little bit of a hiccup in run defense. And I'm sorry, but he can tackle. feel like tackling is pretty good. I don't think he has I think his tackling grade is pretty good. So at the end of the day, he will be a solid piece for the Niners. You know what I mean? Like, he's not my number one linebacker. You know who that is. It's Campbell out of Alabama. But he's definitely in my top 5.
All right. So I watched him some time ago, maybe like last month or 2 months ago, right? And here's the notes that I had on him. So even before like all this talk about 49ers and Bosa, right? I said he has the speed to keep up with receivers and tight ends in coverage. This is strength for sure. He sometimes bites on fakes, sometimes takes time to pull the trigger. So to your point, talking about, his contributions in the run game, that's really where I get nervous about him, Wayne, because I need a linebacker that's going to be good in the run game as well. Like, I can't have him just be good at coverage. Like, yes, that's awesome. How about we get a better safety who's good at coverage, and we let the linebackers do what they do and what they have done in this, in this 49ers team, and let them play with their hair on fire. I just don't see that with Bosa. And so that's why I'm like, he doesn't scream 49ers linebacker to me, because when I watch all the linebackers that they've brought in, is guys that play with their hair on fire, that even if they're going to the wrong place, Wayne, they're going. They're going there. And yes, I saw the hesitancy at times with him, which is troubling. And him being smaller in this clip, I'm sure it's in this clip that we're watching here, one of these. This is against Boise State. So G&T gets like a solid pass pro rep against him, where he basically like lifts him up off his spot.
That G&T cut was dangerous. God
and
dang.
He's good, right? We get it. He's the best running back in this class.
We should just draft him at 11 if he's available.
I don't want a linebacker that's getting blown off their spot by a running back.
You can't have that. That's why I like him. I like him in round. If you get him as a second, there's linebackers that I feel like there's other linebackers I feel like that would suit us better. And I'm not saying that.
So too.
I just constructively criticize him. I like him as a player. I mean, 34 tackles, 18 run stops. So he has the problem. He has a forced fumble, 2 PBUs, 11 pet pressures, 2 sacks. Like, he gets the job done. But it's the hesitancy that scares me. I would be hesitant to draft him.
Yeah, I would too, a little bit. And so
depending where you get him. Depending
where you get him. So if he goes like round 4, if he goes day 3, like, I could live with that.
Hell yeah. Like, sign me up.
I could live with that. Yeah, like that'd be cool. I've seen people mention him like second round. I'm like, no, I would not want to do that. That's not who I would be targeting there. And so, it kind of brought up. I've seen other people mention this, and I'm kind of on that same boat, that maybe Bosa is a smokescreen of sorts, and they're interested in someone else, at Oregon. We've talked about so many players just in this short amount of time here that could be fits for the 49ers. So it's not outside the realm of possibility that they're actually thinking of any one of those other guys as well as an option. They leave this draft with at least one Oregon Duck.
For sure. For sure. And it's funny how he says it could be Birch, Invader 49er. It could be. But again, why? Why Birch? Like, you took that chance on a Drake Jackson, didn't really work out. He's a one-trick pony. Are we cool with that? I'm not cool with that. Like, I still need a guy that's going to come in and say, if
we had Leonard Floyd, Wayne,
right, then it's a different conversation.
It opens up the possibility.
Yeah, like a different.
Which is why getting rid of Floyd didn't make sense.
But to be fair, if he's the second, listen, we're probably going to go to edge. If he's the second edge drafted,
very well could be. Now
we cooking, because now you got a guy that knows how to get to the quarterback, period, and you can bring him in and utilize him that way. Like, I'm all about that 2007 Giants defense, when they just had a bunch of rotative pieces that no one knew who they were except for the starters, and then rotated pieces came in fresh. It's kind of like what the Eagles did last year. It's all about the rotation.
Mm-hmm. Which that's what they used to do. That used to be their game. That's when they were at their strength.
Bingo.
they had those guys and they were all reliable and all good at their niche and certain, play situations, and they lost that. They lost the plot, Wayne. So they got to get back to it. And again, the 49ers are going to end up with at least one of these guys.
For sure.
So,
it's funny if they don't end up with any of those guys and they draft
would be
like
really funny,
wide
actually.
receiver Tez Johnson, and then everybody's gonna be like,
I would actually, we didn't even mention him, but he's a dog too. Like that man gets open.
first of all, you can't cover him. Like
that man gets open.
Don't care if he ran a 4.5, whatever.
He is.
He is uncoverable. Like we've witnessed it. So, and he said that. Like you want to know how much them Oregon players are dogs, right? Because he came out and said, "What I need to run the 44. I know how fast I am." Like they can't cover me.
Confidence. I love
That's
it.
Demo on the offensive side.
That's attitude,
but
man.
like you said, they're going to draft a player from Oregon. It's written in stone.
For sure. And again, going to be keeping tabs on all things 49ers draft related, all these pro days that they're attending. So make sure you guys check out the draft tracker if you haven't yet, bit.ly/49ers draft tracker 2025. But appreciate all of you guys that tuned in. For next week, we'd love to get some suggestions on who you want us to watch, and we'll do a 49K draft club with some of those players. So send in those recommendations either here, either on Twitter, and we'll get to it, man. But, appreciate all of you that tuned in. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Not just mine, but Wayne's as well. And appreciate all of you. Have a good rest of your Friday.
Don't forget I think you got a super chat, so don't forget the super chat. It's already starred. So just go to your starts.
I don't have any starred.
Really?
Where'd you see it? How long ago was it?
It came in at 133. Oh, it came in early. Oh no, it came in 133.
How am I not seeing that?
I see it in the stars. I'm not streaming it, so it can't be mine. It's yours.
That's so weird.
I can't pull it up.
I literally can't see it. It's not popping up.
Got you. It's from Peachy though. So from Peachy Brown, she gave the super chat. Thanks, Peach. She says one of my favorites for a long time, the GOAT, loving the GOATs. So she super chatted us.
No, thank you, Peachy. Yeah, I'm so sorry. I can't see it, so I can't put it up. But shout out you. I see I don't even see any of Peachy's messages in the chat. So that's weird. Yeah. And 133, I don't even see that. I'm brushing through here. But thank you, Peachy, so much. Appreciate all of you, like I said. And make sure that you like and subscribe. Have a good rest of your Friday. Have a good weekend, folks. Peace.